Shabbat Shalom. Our Parsha this week, Ki Tavo, contains one of the longest aliyot in the entire Torah. Were we reading the entire Parsha as opposed to being on the triennial cycle, the sixth aliyah that we read would be 63 psukim, 63 verses long. It is a list of blessings first, and then a list of curses that would befall us were we to not observe God's mitzvot. The blessings we receive when we do follow the mitzvot. All of Sefer Devarim, the book of Deuteronomy, is spoken by Moshe in his final days of life, and it's a retelling of the Torah. A similar list appears at the end of the book of Vayikra in Parshat Bechukotai. Moshe is like the parent to the entire people Israel, right? He's been leading us through the desert for 40 years. He knows what to do. And here he is reciting a list of curses that God is telling him to tell us. Earlier in the Torah, in Parshat Balak, which we read earlier this summer in Sefer Bamidbar in the book of Numbers, a foreign prophet, Bilam ben Beor, is hired by the king of Moab, named Balak, to curse the Jewish people. Right? And we know the story. Instead of a curse, God changes the words coming out of Bilam's mouth, and a blessing comes out. We get the prayer, Matovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkanotecha Yisrael. How great are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. The Midrash Rabbah, a collection of midrashim from the early medieval period, which is written on every book of the Torah. I'm currently reading Midrash Rabbah on Devarim, on Deuteronomy, every week with my Hevruta, and we actually just came across this Midrash last week. The Midrash asks, why does the Torah have a list of curses come out of the mouth of Moshe, our dad, our parent who has been leading us lovingly, with some challenges along the way, through the desert for 40 years, while a blessing is given to us by a foreigner who is hired by an enemy? The answer that the Midrash arrives at is when we receive a compliment from someone we don't expect it from. It means a lot more than when someone who really loves us tells us how great we are. Yes, it gives us a warm feeling every time someone tells us that we're doing a great job. But when it comes from a place and a person we don't expect, we believe it a lot more, saying, oh wow, they see something great in me. On the other hand, when an enemy, when an outsider who doesn't actually know us very well and means us bad, insults us and gives us criticism and rebuke, we don't really listen to it because they don't want the best for us anyway. But when a family member or a close friend gives us rebuke, and it's coming from a place of love, we know that there are things we need to work on. So the blessing is put in the mouth of Bilam so that it's an even more believed and true blessing out of the unexpected place. And the curses, which are really a warning. If we are not on the right path, this is what could happen. Those come from Moshe, from a close family member. We learn from this that we're commanded in the Torah to rebuke our friends and family, to say when you're doing something that's not totally in line with what you should be doing. It's our obligation to give that constructive criticism. But only, the rabbis stress, if it can be heard, and only done in a respectful way. As we approach the high holidays as we watch the full moon of Elul right around now, we know that the high holidays, this time of repentance, is upon us. And I want everyone to think how you are going to both offer your slichot, your apologies to your loved ones and to others, and how we can have conversations with each other about how we can all do better in the coming year. Wish you a Shabbat Shalom, and I look forward to seeing you across the screen.